Looking for cool must-have products or the latest life-improving technology? Join product design experts Tracy Hazzard and Tom Hazzard in their search for the next little thing. Those seldom hyped, low-tech, but well-designed things you won't be able to stop raving about. The show is not sponsored or affiliated with any of the things or companies being reviewed today unless otherwise disclosed. So get ready to discover the next little thing you just can't live without.
Hey everyone, welcome to the premiere of The Next Little Thing. I'm Tracy Hazzard.
And I'm Tom Hazzard, her co-host. And, you know, some might say better half. I don't think so, but yeah, you're the better half. But.
Partner in life and partner in business. So yeah, we spent a lot of time together. And why would we do what? I think this is my 7th show.
Yeah, I think that's what people who don't know us ought to know. This is not our first podcast. Podcasting is our life, really. We make a living through it now. We didn't always, but we certainly do. And this is, I don't even know, it's probably my 5th or 6th podcast, maybe your 7th or 8th, something like that.
Yeah, I'm a couple ahead of you. So we have a lot of podcasts under our belt, but I think the thing that we want everyone to understand is that our whole career has been focused on understanding what people want to buy, what people will consume, whether it's content or products. And our whole careers have been about that, about really being on the edge of that next thing. What is that next thing that you want on the shelves in the store? Or what is that next thing you want as a service that you're going to sell in your marketing business or whatever that might be? We've always been on the edge of that and not the bleeding edge, but the cutting edge of that.
Yeah, our careers have spanned, oh my gosh, I don't even want to say almost 3 decades now, hasn't it? Been and
3 decades, yeah.
We've designed a ton of products. I mean, literally over 1,000, like consumer
Easily.
Products that many of you have probably bought and didn't even know, because you bought something at Costco or Target or Walmart or Best Buy, Staples, places like that, or on Amazon, right? And you wouldn't have known that we did it because we were product designers and developers behind another brand.
Right. And the same thing with some of our services. Like we're the services behind lots of really great podcasts, over almost 600 of them out there that you have no idea that we're helping to produce. We're doing a lot of things. We're strategically focusing and building them behind the scenes. So there's so much of what Tom and I do in a ghost role. Right. So we do this as ghost designers or ghost strategists or ghost producers. Right. And this ghost role has kind of been our thing, but it allows us a different perspective on the things that are out in the marketplace and what we see going on. This kind of separated perspective on we see globally what's working and what's not working behind the scenes that most consumers will never see. And so we see, yeah, something made it to the shelf, but it's not successful. It didn't really sell. It's getting closed out. We understand what's going on behind the scenes. And we see that across categories, across companies, across product types, across service types, across industries. We see that going on. And then we match that with what we see happening and going viral in places and trending in places. And we look at that and it's kind of our job to look at something and go, is this really going to tap into something that people will love, will buy, will use again and again and again and rave about and refer to their friends? Does it have that characteristic of it or not?
That's right, Tracy. I think it might also be helpful for people to understand sort of what our I guess you'd say education and experience is. We're product designers. I have an industrial design degree, and we got involved in every aspect of the life cycle of a consumer product, from its creation, maybe starting as a napkin sketch, to developing what we want it to be, intended to be, how it's going to meet the needs of the consumer, the manufacturer, the retailer altogether, and then it's selling, going through its life of success, and then end of life. And, so from cradle to grave of a product, we've seen it all. And kind of
and tapped
uniquely
into and done all the different aspects of what's going on there, whether it's marketing and purchasing and logistics. And like, we tapped into the entire structure of it, building a business, building the software and services to support that business, customer service, right? We've built all of that because we've also built some companies along that go along with products over the time. So as Tom mentioned, he's an industrial designer. I have a textile design degree. We met our first day at Rhode Island School of Design way back when. And we have been friends and, obviously married for quite some time, almost 30 years of marriage, just like almost 30 years of working together. So it's about the same. And in all of the different structures of things, though, we see timeless threads that go through that are consistent. And it doesn't matter whether it's a pandemic year or it's not, we still see things like that occur. We've gone through multiple recessions and still seen what works and what doesn't. And there is a timelessness and details and threads that make something great, that make it really usable, that changes your life, and it might be tiny little changes that it makes, but it's so worth it that you keep buying whatever it is. And again, products, services, apps, tech, could be any of those things, because all of them have become such a prevalent part of changing the way our daily lives function.
They're all really intertwined today. You can't have a product today be successful without having an online presence, having social media presence, having an app that's related to the product. I mean, there's so many ways all these things are intertwined. And it's also important to understand that in our position, in our role in product design and development, whether it was in our own company or as a consultant for another company, we've been everywhere from the boardroom to the factory floor. And that includes factories in Asia, around the world, where lots of things are made today. Not everything is made in the United States. So we have a very broad perspective and experience when it comes to this. And so that informs us to be able to look at a product and say, wow, yeah, that looks like that's going to work. That's the next thing.
And this is actually not as easy as it sounds. It sounds like, oh, great, God, Tom and Tracy, you're going to do a review show. But we can't just do a review show, because we want to bring you the products that are really going to make it, that are really going to work. And that's not always so easy to discern at first glance, right? And so we have to dive a bit deeper into the products. Sometimes we have to test them out and try them ourselves. Here's the thing is that people ask me all the time, what do you buy? What did you buy for your kids for Christmas? What did you give your husband for a gift for Father's Day? They ask us that all the time because they expect that we have some cool answer to this. So while there's a lot of trend hunting and cool hunting and things like that, there's shows about that out there. There's videos, there's all these things. We are not out there looking for that next big thing to highlight that's going to blow up TikTok, because we want to give you the things that are actually going to make it, that are going to be around tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and merge into something big, maybe by starting small, right? So these are those things, and they're not as easy to see. They're not as easy to find. So we're going to really rely on you listeners out there and our network of various people in the product industry to give us ideas, to send us some things, to submit to make submissions of ideas of things that you find valuable, and then let us analyze them. And we're going to tell you why they're working, why they're great, and whether or not this is something you might want to buy. Now, Tom and I always qualify everything with, it's not always right for everyone, right? So when we see something, we go, this might be a great thing, but it's probably only great for this segment of the market that we can be absolutely certain of. There might be a few random people out here, but it's not, everyone always says, who should buy my product? What does everybody say? The inventors of the product, who's my target market? They always say, everybody, right?
Yeah, everybody always says, "Oh, everybody wants this," and it's
not true.
It's idealistic, and actually, I think a lot of inventors really do believe everybody should like my product because they're so enamored with their product, they're too close to it. They think everybody is going to want it or should want it, and that's just not practical reality. Every product meets needs for a niche of people. Very few products meet everybody's needs. So that's something that, you know, you need to understand. And we are going to be very clear about. And, you know, I think we're also going to highlight some products, apps, services, I mean, I don't really like putting any limits on the type of things that we're going to talk about. But ones that we think have merit and deserve to have a little light shined on them, raise awareness for them. They may not all succeed long term, even though we talk about them and highlight them. We may believe they will, we may think they will, but the reality is we want to bring you some things, yes, some that are proven by what we can see have made it or are making it, and others that are emerging. We want to bring you some things that are on the cutting edge, and it may be too soon. Time may need to tell if we're right eventually, and this product succeeds.
You know what, Tom, I want to give an example of what we do. So just keep this in mind that, so not only have Tom and I had a bunch of podcasts, our very first podcast is in 3D printing. So we did a lot of, if you want to call it, reviews and inquiries into various types of 3D print companies, products, software, services, like the whole thing. And many of them didn't make it. Right? Many of them didn't make it because the industry was in its infancy and the money wasn't flowing always to all the different businesses, or the industry in general. And this is where we came in, was that the designs that would make those products shine were not there. Everyone was printing like, you know, tchotchkes. So it just wasn't working out in terms of highlighting what these things can do. That doesn't mean that 3D printing is like gone and dead. In fact, we just did a single episode because something new caught our eye and was so really cool in 3D print furniture. So we're seeing these things go on in the marketplace over time. And sometimes even when something's really, really great, it won't make it. My favorite one is one that I wrote about in Inc. magazine multiple times, actually. And Tom and I don't know how, we did a few episodes on it over time as well, but the coolest cooler. And I don't know if everyone remembers this, but it blew up Kickstarter. I don't know how many years ago, Tom, now.
It was around, I think, 2015 or 2016. It's been a while.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Right. And it's this cooler that like has a blender mixed into it, had power. So when you took it to the beach, you could charge your phone and listen to music. It had, you know, a cutting board, a cutting table, and it was had special wheels that would go great in the sand. So for us Californians, we thought it was really cool. And so, you know, of course we signed up. It was, you know, we signed up, we funded the Kickstarter. It was all over every single, I think, magazine you could imagine. And early on, both of us said, there's a high probability this is not going to make it to market. And we both said that. And I wrote a couple of articles about it. And we did a show about it on our 3D printing. We'll link all of that to the blog post for this episode at nextlittlethingpod.com. And that way you can, you know, check out what we're really saying here. But we realized that there was these indicators that the company didn't have. They blew up too fast and they didn't have the infrastructure they needed to create a viable business that could sell this product into Costco, for instance. And so they had something great, but they were never going to go beyond the Kickstarter. And that's exactly what happened to them.
Right. And we actually were looking at it and sort of reading the signs, because you're right, Tracy, this was the most talked about Kickstarter of the year at the time, and it made national news. I mean, I know, you know, these days, broadcast television isn't always the number one medium everybody consumes things through today, the way our smartphones and all our different apps and social platforms have become. But for instance, I mean, this thing was interviewed on what was highlighted, and the founder of the company and the Kickstarter were interviewed on the Today Show, for instance, you know, so national television, not just local TV. So this thing got a lot of attention. And as we're seeing what's happening, we're listening to what the different issues were they were having. And because we backed the campaign, we would get updates. We were able to see, you know what, they're going to have this problem and this problem and this other problem. And while I really want them to succeed, they probably are destined to fail for a number of reasons, more having to do with the business structure of things and the logistics of manufacturing and distribution of a pretty expensive large scale product than anything else. It wasn't like the design of the product or what needs it met for the user. On that level, the thing was fantastic.
Although it did have a lot of feature creep. I would say.
It did. They included so many features in it that ends up costing them money down the road. Yeah, that really they probably couldn't afford.
Right, exactly. So anyway, we want to give you some examples and frameworks and to how the show's going to go. So these are the kinds of stories we're looking for. We're looking for the indicators. Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? Even though it may have some amazing viability, we're also looking at things that we've bought over the last year to highlight for you and say, why are these really great? And why have I bought them again and again or given them as a gift again and again? Why does this tap into something? So that it's both a lesson in understanding sort of that trait of those products and services and apps and tech, that trait of what makes them highly useful and highly viable. And I think that's a word. And then also why there are issues, what problems might come up. And so that you can see that from both directions. And that's our goal with the show. We'll be doing kind of short format, not super long shows, where we're really highlighting one product at a time, one tech at a time, one app at a time. We have no intention of making money off them. And I want that to be really clear right now. We have no intention of making money off them. However, we would like to highlight, if you heard about it on the show, we'd love for it to be able to be tracked to say, oh, I decided to buy this because of that. So we're asking for you to go to nextlittlethingpod.com whenever you want to try one of these products and click through to it. We're not going to put real affiliate links, right? We're not making money off of it. We just want to see that you heard about it on the show and you decided to link out to it. So you're going to link out to it. So that helps us track, you heard about it on the show, and then you decided to go buy it or explore it or whatever that is. That would help us tremendously in sort of understanding of what you guys are listening about. Which products are you liking, so we can do more of those? So we'll be putting all of that out. We're sort of going to also have a behind the scenes version of the show going on, where we're going to highlight what kind of click-throughs are we getting. And so we'll see which products are resonating with you, which shows are resonating with you, and then we'll be able to build more shows like that for you. So you're going to be help discerning what is going to be next on the next little thing. So please help us with that. We'd really appreciate that. That's the way you can help us the most on the show. We'll be taking no advertisers. That's probably, no advertisers, at least here in the beginning. I don't know what kind of advertisers you and I would accept, Tom. We're certainly not going to take a product advertiser. I don't know if we do that in the future, but I'm not going to say no, but just not now.
Yeah, it's always hard to speak in absolutes and say, oh, we'll never take an advertiser. Look, I think, with every podcast, it pivots over time, and we're probably even going to pivot some of our show format, the length of our shows, the kinds of products or apps or services or whatever that we're talking about, as we do gauge from you listeners which ones are of most interest and how what we're doing is resonating. So things will pivot, but it's certainly not our intention to make this to be a more, I guess, obviously commercial endeavor. We have reasons for doing this because this is an area of interest for me and Tracy, first and foremost. We're product people. We like products. Tracy and I are always talking about, that's a really cool product, and sort of kicking around between the two of us and, trying to, make some assessments of it just on our own anyway. So why not give you all sort of a window into that thinking and highlight some really good products, because some of them really deserve to see the light of day. So that's one of really our deep motivations. And the other one is, right now at this part of our careers, we are all in on podcasting. It is our primary business these days. And so we have the ability to put a podcast out pretty easily. And we're doing this behind the scenes thing's pretty cool.
And we make it our mission to start a brand new podcast every single year so we can be in it with our clients. So what kind of podcast that we're going to start? We got to start one that interests us, like that we can, we can't just start a random podcast. So I want to highlight that because those might interest you as well, especially if some of you are inventors out there or product developers and you have that. We have Product Launch Hazards, which has over 150 episodes, I think, that is all focused on product development, all the resources and tools and processes that Tom and I used to do when we were developing products for other people. Now we only develop them for ourselves, so we really don't do them for other people, but that's in there. So Product Launch Hazards, and that's Hazards with 2 Z's because Tom and I, our last name Hazzard has 2 Z's in it. So that's Product Launch Hazards is there for you. WTFFF, that stands for Fused Filament Fabrication, which is the geeky term for 3D printing. Our 3D print podcast has over 630 or so, 30 or something episodes. I forget how many, it's a lot. And that one's still out there. You can go to 3dstartpoint.com to find that one. We also have the New Trust Economy, which I hosted with Monica Profit. That's on blockchain and cryptocurrency. All the shows that I did were focused on blockchain innovation and how that might help logistics chains and other things like that. She's a little more fintech and crypto focused. And so Monica's taken over the show now, so she mostly does that. But that is also out there. What am I forgetting? Oh, the Binge Factor and Feed Your Brand. They're right behind my heads here. If you're watching the video, I should duh. Feed Your Brand is Tom's and my show for podcasters, where we give them tips and tactics and ways to grow their show and launch their show if they want to launch one. And the Binge Factor is my interviews with successful podcasters and how they're using podcasting to grow their businesses and their authority in the marketplace. And then now we have Next Little Thing Pod, which is nextlittlepod.com is our website, but it's also is at the same place that the Binge Factor is. So you'll find them both in the same place. So you can go to bingefactormedia.com and you get both shows at the same time on the same website because we decided to co-locate them and make our lives easier. And so you can get both of them there. So you can hear about bingeable shows and you can hear about bingeable products in the same place. So yeah, that's some ways to find us. And, as always with all of our shows, we do the same thing. We have video, we have audio, we have blogs, we have social posts for you. So you will find us all over the place. You can go to YouTube, you can go to our website, but if you go to the website, that is going to be the main place where the hub of everything is located. That's the way we operate with all of our podcasts. So that's the best place to find everything.
So that's nextlittlethinpod.com. Right, Tracy?
That's right.
That's the important one to remember because we're going to talk about a lot of different products from, one show to another, a lot of different apps, services, whatever it might be for that episode. And I know, a lot of you are going to be listening when you're driving or, listening when you're exercising, working at the gym, and you're not going to be able to write down the name of a product or remember the name or the website of a product. We're not even going to really talk much about the websites for all these products because you really just need to remember one website, nextlittlethinpod.com. That's always your go-to place. The latest blog post will be at the top of the blog feed. The latest podcast episode will be at the top of a podcast player. You can click, you can listen, you could watch, you can get any links to anything we mentioned. Everything as a resource for you is right there.
And Tom, you don't even know this yet. We're building a directory. So as we review more products and stuff, there'll actually be a quick directory to go to. So if you're looking for the next best gift that you need to give at a various time, and you haven't had a chance to listen to all the episodes, you can go right there and kind of scroll through that and find some of those things. Now, of course, the directory is going to build over time as we build the episodes. So it won't be chock full at the beginning, but it will be there and it'll be a quick and easy way. And you'll be able to link right out to the episode if you haven't heard it. So if you find a product that sounds intriguing to you and you want to then listen to what we have to say about it, you'll be able to do that very quickly from there.
Now, Tracy, what can our listeners expect in terms of cadence or frequency of episodes? I mean, I came into this with the ambition that we're going to record so many episodes. We're going to do several every week. And you're like, whoa, Tom, hold on a minute. Do we have enough things to review? Do we have enough time to do that? And I mean, I think we need to leave that a little flexible. But I think our intention is at minimum to bring everybody a weekly show, right?
Oh, weekly. Yes. I think at least once a week. The problem for us is that we can review a bunch of products and we maybe think we have enough, but you and I are so picky about what qualifies that I don't know that we'll probably toss away 5 times as many as we accept into the process. And that's why I don't think we can do more than a weekly show. So just knowing us.
Well, but anyway, so as a listener, you can count on at minimum a weekly show. And, maybe we'll throw a bonus one in here or there.
Especially towards the holidays or towards any time you need to do gifts. We'll throw in bonus gift episodes.
And the other thing I guess I'd like to say is to those of you listening, and even if this is long after the show is launched and you're listening to this episode because you listened to a current one and you went back to the beginning because you wanted to understand the origin story,
or this is the trailer.
What we're doing. Or the trailer, right? That, we may get so many submissions of products, apps, services, things to review that we have a ton of good ones. And then we record so many, you have the ability to flood us with things that then, we've got enough content to publish 2 a week or 3 a week. And I'd be into that if we have enough good ones, right?
There's a submission form right on. Don't send us products immediately, please. Send the submission form in and we'll tell you what to do from there. Please don't send us products randomly. We don't have the storage space for that. But yeah, go ahead and you can nominate someone, nominate a product, nominate an idea, submit yourself. We don't care. We just want to know about you, know about the products, know about the things that you love, and go ahead and just hit. It's a short submission form. It's right on the nextlittlethingpod.com website. You can just go right there, do that really quick. And a member of our team will get back to you and say, no, yeah, we've already reviewed it. We already have this, or here's where you send the product in, or send a submission in, or send a trial code if it's an app or something like that. So you can handle all that. Our team will take care of that with you.
All right. Well, is there anything left to share with our listeners in this first episode? I think that pretty well covers it.
Yeah, no, just reach out to us. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you'd like us to review. Let us know what you liked and what you didn't like. Use those click-through links to help give us a feedback. And just enjoy and keep on searching for that next little thing.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much. We look forward to going on this journey with you. Until next time, this has been Tom and Tracy Hazzard
on The Next Little Thing.
Want to get the next little thing? Visit nextlittlethingpod.com for discounts, links, and connections straight to all the next little things featured on this show. If you think your thing is the next little or big thing, we want to hear all about it. Apply to be the next little thing at nextlittlethingpod.com. Now go out and rave about the little things.